Ching.
Oh, solar flare. Perfect.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay. We didn't say anything before the music started.
That's all right.
Okay. Let's make
for
up for
itself.
it by saying a lot right now.
All right.
Go.
And here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my God. Every drummer in the room just twitched a little.
Right? Have you heard those like metronomes that have the voices that go 1, 2,
3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Yo, yeah.
You're like, I don't ever want to play music again. That's it.
You've killed my heart.
You killed my soul.
I was eating dinner with my family last night at this restaurant that was playing shit music.
That's my favorite genre.
And it was the pop songs with the four chords. You know what I'm talking
That's
about.
all you need. 4 chords of the truth, baby.
Yeah, but the four chords, the pop chords.
Yeah.
And you just, once it goes from the second to the third chord, and you just know
what's happening.
What's coming later because the song was written for you from the pop song formula. I asked my family if they heard that note, because I'm like, no matter what's going on, if a song's doing that in the background, I'm pulled out of the moment.
Right.
And I just hear that fucking shit. And I just die. And, you know, my kids are musical. And so I asked them, and none of them feel it yet. I guess they're just used to it.
Yeah, you got to hear like several thousand songs that have that chord progression, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Or watch that video that says the 4 chord progression. Have you seen that?
I've seen a few of them breaking it down.
Yeah. They played like 100 songs with the same 4 chords.
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff. Good
yeah.
stuff.
But I'm done complaining about pop music.
Okay.
Let's complaining about something else.
All right.
Okay. I haven't had a drink in over a minute.
Oh. Well, let's take care of that problem.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. This is a drinking podcast.
Aye.
We'll figure out a new, very offensive, misunderstood phrase, and then we'll drink every time we say that. So we got homework to do before this podcast is over. The pressure's on.
Really? I'm impressed if we actually need homework to come up with something like that. But yeah, that's.
Is it called homework if we have to do it while we're recording?
Sure.
Okay.
Because we're in my home.
Yes.
Sure.
Perfect. Okay. Liam, you were going to have a story.
Yeah, we had a discussion about. There you go. That's my favorite story. So yeah, you know, my daughter has a TikTok account, and you know, I venture on it just every once in a while, just to kind of make sure that you know things are on the up and up, and nothing crazy is going on. And she had it on her homepage that she supported Black Lives Matter, which was obviously not a problem. And then the ABCAB, which is all cops are bastards. And I thought, I think I need to have a discussion with her about that. And I asked her about it, and she said, well, it means all cops are bastardized. I'm like, what does that mean? She said, well, they all come from a corrupt system. I'm like, well, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know that's what that means. So she got, obviously she's 12 and she got upset about that. And which, then led me to have a longer discussion with her and her mom, and we talked about it, and got her to understand that that's not really what it means and what that, the acronym is all about. And, encourage her to seek other types of, activist avenues to, feel like she's, contributing to the conversation, but I don't think that was the one that she wanted to be associated with. So, and then just encouraged her to, come to us if she had a question about something that was like a new concept to her, or that she wasn't sure about, and wanted to open the door to having these kind of types of conversations. So
there's a lot of people who will be dishonest about their message and like spread like obviously like with my band that doesn't exist anymore, but if I said like, oh well, you should support my band, here's a banner for my band, we stand for everything you stand for, just share my banner around. Well, what is this? Oh well, just share it, it's all good things.
Right.
Just go promote my stuff, don't worry about the specifics.
Right.
Like when people like, well, what's Marxism? Well, Marxism's just, caring about people and wanting people to have food.
Quality.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Like, well, that's
Equality for everybody. Yeah.
there's a little more going on
Yeah.
than just that. So that's the hard part is how do you...
Yeah, and that's what kind of came up was the especially with kids in the world today, with the social media being what it is that they're going to look to people that they think are cool, or they think that are something they identify with, and they're just going to kind of parrot what they represent, not really understanding what it means. And that's kind of what we discovered, is that she didn't quite understand what the concept meant, and that she needed a little bit more explanation about kind of the background of that whole idea. So
Yeah, a big part, obviously, in growing up is finding your own identity, and some people call it the Messiah complex. When we're at a certain age, we think we're gonna change the world. We're gonna make a big difference. We're gonna take this piece of shit that our parents didn't know or care about, and we're gonna do the right thing.
Right.
And it's a normal part of development.
Right.
And something I do with my kids is I make sure I'm hearing what they understand these movements are, what they mean, what the goals are, and then I offer, if I find their perspective lacking, like there's this, someone had this meme where they posted, basically the idea is that this lady posted that she was attacked for the revolutionary idea that all people should be treated equally, regardless of color. Mm-hmm. And, making sure that your daughters, my daughters and your children know that there's nobody out there that trashed this woman for liking equality, that she made up some serious shit. That the world is not as bad as people who are trying to market something want you to think.
Right.
And there's room for improvement. There's conversations that need to be had. Of course there are, but I feel like there's a big group of people out there who know exactly what to say to present their side and make it seem like there is no other side. Yeah. That isn't horrible, shitty, racist, sexist, whatever the thing is. There's either my perspective, of which I'm not going to share much, other than to say that I'm on the good side, and someone who's not on my side is on the bad side. Right. And that's all you need to know. And that's the danger we face as parents, as we go in and we try to ask the kids what they think it means, and if we try to say it means something else, then, oh, my dad's racist too. Yeah. Damn it, they're everywhere. Yeah. They're in my house. Oh no, what do I do? Don't talk to my friends. Yeah. You racist.
It's, and I try to, again, the basic idea is with everything that I try to approach is, try to understand first. The goal is to understand someone's, perspective and what have you. And so, I'm trying to teach her to. It's just too far away. What's going on?
No, it is the fan. I realized what the sound is.
Okay.
The sound is the fan, and when you talk, it's loud enough to go over the noise gate.
Should I turn it off?
Not aim it at the mic.
Okay.
God, I hate to say, don't turn it off here in the sweat box.
Right? Is that any better?
No. Okay, try turning it off.
Yeah.
Nothing like dialing in the
your
sound.
Audio, halfway through. Right?
Yes. All right, try talking.
Is that any better?
Oh God, that's perfect.
Oh man,
That's
sorry.
flawless. That means our first video is gonna, or the first
Well,
first podcast is gonna have the everything Liam says is.
That's right. I'm used to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah. The idea being that I give every kind of concept it's a chance to live and breathe and give it its its fair shake, and just would you say it was rule number 9 to Jordan Peterson's list of
Yes.
rules to live by? Is just assume that someone you're speaking to knows something you don't know, and I just always come from that perspective and say okay, but I want to have a conversation about it. So if it's like if the concept is taboo and I can't talk to you about it, then that's a problem.
Yeah,
And that's what we came to agree with my daughter is that I wanted there to be an open communication between her and any new concepts that she's coming across, is that we need to be able to have a conversation about it and talk openly about it and be able to understand where she's coming from and then where she got her information, and let's fact check it, make sure that it's legitimate and you're not just parroting something that you saw from people that you admire and you think are interesting and cool and whatever. And to actually start critically thinking about things and not just kind of going along with the crowd.
I found trying to take the conversation to the next level. If someone says something like, there should be no racism, it's like, well, okay, 99.9999% of the population agree with that. There's obviously, that means something different to everyone, and the devil's in the details on that. Okay, well, where do you see racism? What do you think is the solution to racism? And if you get beyond the bumper sticker or the marketing campaign for a organization down to the heart of the issue, then you can actually, talk about change. If everything's, a generic, a category of ideas, and you don't dig into that. Yeah. And so I find it's easier for me to not immediately sound like the enemy.
Yeah.
If I say, well, okay, well, what's the next step? What do you really think's the problem? And get them, and everyone's able to parrot, okay, well, 98% of people incarcerated are black youth for crime and this and that. And it's easy to throw off statistics for that show these points. And it's like, cool, now what's the next step? Why did that happen?
Right.
What is the change?
Yeah. And that's funny you mentioned that, because that's something I kind of internally have a gripe about is, when I watch television, it's basically a documentary or something like that, because I have a hard time kind of justifying my time with something that's just entertaining based, which I do sometimes, but I'll watch documentaries where they're bringing up the problem but offering no solutions at all, just kind of raising the question, just kind of pointing a finger at a problem. Like, okay, that's great. You pointed a finger. Now that, we feel like we understand more about the problem maybe, but now what? What do we do?
Yeah.
It always has fell flat for me. It's like, if you're going to go that far and criticize something, it seems like you've gone this far to do that. You should do the next step and say, okay, here's a solution. Here's what I propose is how we can solve this problem. And instead of just, being kind of the Chicken Little saying the sky is falling, which I get is important, but it would be more helpful to say, okay, here's a problem. Here's my idea of how we can solve that problem. And, if you want to help be a part of that, here's where you can go to help that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same problem that I saw my daughter doing, was that she was kind of just, glomming on to an idea that she felt that was important to bring up, and, raising awareness to this issue that offered no solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offering awareness to something that everyone is overly aware of.
Right.
Have you heard of oxygen?
Right.
No, really. What is that? Well, it's the stuff that it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Huh.
And if we don't do something now, it's going to be gone forever.
Like I see in YouTube, it's like, you should wear a mask. Oh, really? This is new information for me. I didn't know that. Why should I wear a mask?
It's funny. And on that issue, I find it's funny because most people don't quite understand why they are wearing a mask. They think they're protecting themselves. That's not what a mask is for. It's for protecting someone else.
Yeah.
And they think that that's a thing of freedom. Like, I should be able to, choose what I want for my life. Well, that's not where you make that choice. That's not for you. That's for everyone else.
I'd be interested to see, because the most entertaining thing I saw on this subject was a picture of the duck and cover from the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's a nuclear bomb going off in your neighborhood, you better hide under your desk. And so someone was comparing wearing, the government saying we've got to wear a mask to keep yourself safe from the COVID, or to keep the community safe, because they obviously don't say keep yourself safe. It's flattening the curve.
Yeah.
And I get flattening the curve, but then I also get how much of this is a placebo, and, not wearing one is 12% and wearing one's 10%, or these are, it's the conversation. It's the curiosity that we have. And I saw someone, the same lady who posted the post about how she's attacked for thinking people should be treated fairly.
Yeah.
She also posted one that's like Petri dishes, and it's like, here's someone sneezed without a mask and someone sneezed with a mask.
Right.
So any questions? I'm like, I got like a half dozen questions at least. If you're going to try to drop the science bomb, showing me a picture of Petri dishes.
Right.
Like, who did this study? Did they sneeze into the Petri dish? Was the Petri dish, covered? Did they spit? With
actually
15,
scientific,
15 questions, and obviously it makes a whole lot of sense. If I have a mask on my face and I sneeze, almost all of the wetness and whatever was inside that wetness is contained inside my mask. Right. Sure, I get that. Yeah. That's a no-brainer.
It's interesting because I find that, my mind keeps going back to how when the printing press was first invented, and people were like, don't believe everything you read, because people can, just because it's in print doesn't make it actually truth. It's not actual fact. It's just someone went through the effort to put their ideas onto a paper. Doesn't make it, the gospel.
Well, luckily the internet came around and it really took care of that, because there's a high barrier of entry.
Right.
Ideas have to be very well sussed out before they're allowed to.
Only truth is allowed on
the internet.
It goes through an algorithm that discerns whether it's true or not, and only spits out the truth. That's right.
I wish the COVID thing wasn't so politicized. I feel like if someone's talking about a mask, and this is my impression, someone's talking about how you need to wear a mask, I would be willing to bet you $100 that I know how they're going to vote in the election.
Oh, interesting.
That there is an immense correlation, and if someone says,
no mask.
Wearing a mask, no mask, freedom, freedom, freedom.
Right. Let me guess.
I'm willing to guess $200 that I know how they're going to vote in the election. And that...
Isn't that crazy? Like, we don't even need an actual presidential election. We just need to know whether you're...
Just count the number of people.
Mask or no mask? Which way do you go?
I wrote about it in my book, because it was I was finishing that up kind of in the beginning of this pandemic, and I thought, for the first time in the history of the internet, people are arguing about stuff that actually has a consequence. Like people, socialism's the tits, man. Oh no, socialism's going to ruin the world.
Right.
Two people arguing about that. The guy who says we should have socialism isn't actually going to shut down the economy and have us waiting in line to get potatoes or whatever it is. So it's just a purely academic thing. But talking about whether or not to wear a mask, suddenly, there's consequences for getting that one wrong. Maybe you should leave the which sports team is your favorite out of that equation.
Right. Yeah.
Because, there's someone I respect a lot who is like, you're not thinking of taking that drug, whatever, that one drug that you're not allowed to take it.
Hydrocodone.
Yeah. That just makes Trump look good. Whatever. Don't take that. Don't take that. I'm like, a doctor's got to prescribe it. And if I'm dying of something and the doctor says drink turpentine, I'm not going to worry about, hold on, is that a check mark in Trump's category or Biden's category? The fact that people are going, that there's such a high correlation between what people think the risks are and what we should be doing and the right responses. We just align in our tribes.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, when you talk about doctors, it's like you got to, the next step is to, what does your doctor believe? Is it a Trump supporter or is it a Democrat supporter?
Yeah.
And it's like, you base your decision on whether or not to follow their prescription based on that.
Yeah. Before I listen to your advice, I need to know who you're voting for this year because you're either aligning with me or not. And I can't. Yeah.
And what's even worse, though, is that there are doctors that will kind of follow the... Nice job, by the way.
Thank you.
Will follow the party lines and just kind of put it out there exactly.
That's a two for
two. And which supports the whole idea of whether you got to figure out which party they're a part of before you take their advice.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, but it's 100% real.
Yes.
And that's the problem.
Yes.
And I don't got a fix for that one.
God damn it.
I mean, we can, I guess, just shine the light. Like I thought, the last podcast we did where we were talking about something.
I don't remember that being a topic.
Yeah, we were talking about, that's right. We were talking about the teacher who was nervous with at-home learning that the agenda, the different exercises in a progressive agenda was going to be heard by the parents, outsiders like their parents, and then they were going to be, the hard work done to kids to bring them along was going to be undone.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about whether or not that was a real thing, how far-fetched and how widespread, and we didn't have an answer. And the last podcast we did talking about something...
It's totally 1984 all over again.
Yeah.
It is.
And we're like, well, is it... Oh, that's right. It was the ballots voting by mail.
Yes.
Is it... is it a lot of freak out over nothing? Is there going to be rampant voter fraud? Is there going to be rampant people who want to vote who can't because the system let them down? Right. And we got, at the end of the conversation, we don't have the answer.
No. I think it's a non-issue, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we just get to the point where we say we're looking at all different sides and we're curious and we're going to keep being curious and identify both sides, which is, the crucial part to any conversation is to at least understand each side on their own terms.
Yeah, I think, what we're after here is, encouraging the conversation and debate instead of just knee-jerk reaction to a political side to go to and keep your mind open and listen without judgment and see if you can come up with a solution instead of just pointing more fingers at each other.
If I can invoke Jordan Peterson for a moment here.
Yes.
Again.
We've got
I needed a Jordan Peterson button.
Totally need something like that. 'Cause it's, I get that, but no.
No? Is that not it?
I think we needed that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No?
You'll get there. You're not there yet.
I'll keep working. Damn it, I was going to say something.
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. I was going to
Yes.
invoke him for a reason.
Damn it.
Stall.
Well,
I think of something interesting.
we were talking about, listening to people without having judgments and things like that.
Yeah.
Then you were thinking...
Yes, I was thinking about invoking Jordan Peterson. And the... yes. The only time I've heard him talk about Donald Trump.
Okay.
There's he's been...
He's Canadian, by the way.
He is Canadian, but he's well, that's the thing is I'm going to put... Liam's pouring me some more delicious drink.
Yes.
And I'm keeping it away from the electronics.
Good idea.
So there's I've talked about the two Jordan Petersons. There's the thought-provoking psychologist, philosopher, teaching, how to think, what to think, respecting the thousands of years of human knowledge that's come before us, that's built up to what we have now, and not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and not feeling like we have to, that, or it's even possible that we can throw who we are out as a species and just start as blank slates. So there's the philosopher Jordan Peterson, and then there's the political zeitgeist Jordan Peterson, and everyone calls him a controversial figure because of that second part that he does, but he's generally speaking not advocated certainly for a political side or a political party. He talks about ideas like he's anti-Marxist, and a lot of people would say, oh, therefore by extension he's anti-leftist.
Right.
And then by extension, well, he must be a conservative because you have to be one or the other.
Right. He's alt-right, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got to be, and so the he's not. He's just, we put him in our bucket. Like, well, I'm a Chargers fan, and you're either a Chargers fan or a Raiders fan.
Right.
And then he comes along saying, I don't think the Chargers are that great. And you're like, get out of here, you Raiders fan.
Right.
You're just nothing but a Raiders fan.
Right.
He's like, I don't
Didn't say that.
I'm big on the Raiders fan. So the only thing he was talking about the Trump election coming up.
I'm a
The
Niners
Trump election.
fan.
Yeah. And yeah, he just was talking about the great big basket list of character faults that he has, which I think everyone, whether you're a Trump supporter or not, you definitely don't necessarily want him babysitting your kids and passing on the Trump outlook on specifics.
Right.
I think you said in the last podcast that we are going to erase judiciously is that he's definitely not the man you want in charge during a crisis.
You're talking about Trump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he may be good enough. And I know, because I don't want to, I'm definitely going to steer clear of saying he's bad or that you shouldn't vote for him, but he's got a laundry list of character flaws.
Well, it's interesting. I think, I was just listening to Jordan Peterson earlier, is it, talking about agreeable or disagreeable personality types, and the more narcissistic and disagreeable you are, the more likely you are to succeed and have more money, and which kind of just ties in, if you have narcissistic or disagreeable tendencies, you might be great at running a business or a CEO or, making money, which I think that Donald Trump, knows how to do that. And I think that's probably why he got voted for, because people are like, hey, we need to get out of this, and we need to make things better financially. And it's exactly what happened. Things did get better. So people are like, hey, look, he did great at this. But when it comes to managing a crisis for the United States, I think that's where maybe where he falls short. And
there's definitely, an argument for whether or not he actually knows how to do the things he claims to do.
Right.
I'll go ahead and share. Some people aren't sure why Trump won, or they're giving bullshit reasons, like, oh, people love to attack Muslims, and so they voted for Trump. I can cut through all that bullshit. If you want to know why Trump won, and if you want to know how to beat Trump,
tell me.
I
tell
know.
Me the story,
I'll
Nick.
bust out a story. Light up the campfire.
There you go.
Dangerous conversations.
Once upon a time in this galaxy far, far away.
Far away. There are things we're not supposed to talk about.
Uh-oh.
Don't close the door. We're gonna. And I'm talking, and I've had these conversations with my kids. It's like, okay, take immigration. Unskilled people from a third world country who are probably a half generation to a generation away from being self-sustaining, and a generation to 2 generations from, how many people that fall in that category can come into the United States a year without being a serious detriment? And the answer, of course, is you're not allowed to even ask that question because you just hate minorities if you ask the question that way.
Hater.
What's
That's
the
hate
number?
Speech.
Is it, so there's 300 and something million people in the U.S. Let's say China sends 800 million completely impoverished people here over a 2-year period. Will that destroy this country? Yes or no? You're not allowed to talk about that because you just hate the Chinese if you talk about that.
Right.
So there's these kinds of, it's the conversations you're not allowed to have.
Yeah.
There's the politicians who say the most important issues facing this world are people aren't able to go into the bathroom of their choice.
Right.
And Trump, I think, just flubbed his way through. At one point made a speech and said, something to the effect about the border wall.
Yeah.
And all the pundits are like, holy fuck, you just ended your political run right there, buddy. And
surprise, surprise.
a huge swath of people said, I thought we weren't allowed to talk about things that I'm thinking about. Oh my God, this is... So that's it. It's not that Trump has the answers. Trump has the marbles to actually talk about the thing. Yeah. And it's a one-sided thing now.
Yeah.
So there's not even a debate. You've got one guy who doesn't necessarily have the right answers, but he's at least talking about the problem.
Yeah.
And, you can talk about, Bernie Sanders, like, well, we should get rid of college debt. And, he obviously, there's a different crowd with different concerns that he's addressing.
It's almost like, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Is that where it is?
Yeah.
It's like he has no sense of something's off the table, so to speak. And stuff you don't want to talk about. He's like, oh, that's a hot button. Let's talk about that.
Well, I think he learned the wrong lesson. The right lesson is, hey, we should be having deep conversations. Mm-hmm. He learned anything goes. Yeah. Because he's the only one having the conversation. Right. So he can say anything, and some people will go, well, at least we're talking about it. Yeah. Because the other side, they're acting like we're assholes for even mentioning it. Right. Like, you guys are racist for even thinking that we can't support, tripling the size of the country with untrained, So and these are the conversations I have, with my daughters when, back to what we were talking about in the beginning when, oh, well, some people just, hate immigration. It's like, no, nobody hates immigration. They're like, we're a country of immigrants. Yeah, I know. Nobody says we should stop immigration. It's the next layer deep on the onion. Like, what's our goal with immigration? If our goal is to assimilate, to slowly turn into other cultures, we're not supposed to wake up tomorrow and be Saudi Arabia or China or like I know the news stories I see in Mexico. I don't think, boy, I sure wish our government was like that. I sure wish the life I lived was more like the life people live down in Mexico. I don't at all think, boy, we should be wholesale importing and turning into that. Yeah.
It's like, we've built a good thing here and more people are like, hey, That's a pretty good system you got there. I want to be part of that. And America's like, yeah, come on in. This is a great place to be. You know, send us our, you know, you're deprived and you're homeless and you're hungry and we'll take care of them. But at some point you'll be like, wait a minute, we don't have enough resources to take care of all that stuff. So
we got to take the baby steps.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson, if I might invoke him for a minute.
Where's your Peterson sound?
My Peterson sound?
Sure. That's good enough. Yeah.
Shit. You made me forget my Jordan Peterson point.
Immigration.
Shit, I'm going to have to get better at not drinking this much.
Sorry, man. I totally took you out of your whole mindset.
We were talking about immigration
and people coming in.
Yes.
There you go.
He was making the point. It's like if you're going to break away from society, and you know, there's plenty of times where heresy is the right attitude, where society is wrong, and it needs some brave people to shock it into something better. But there's way too many people who think, oh, we need to change and throw away the past, and it's all bad. And if you're going to try and tear down what is, you really have to know what it is you're trying to build and how to build it. You can't just...
Skateboard? I don't know.
Okay. You can't just tear down... You know, this is he talked about this being our oak tree. This is our oak tree, our society. We're on high branches. He's like, if you're reading this book, you're privileged. You know how to read.
Right.
You have time to read.
Right.
You are privileged, and you need to understand. You're on an oak branch up in the trees, and it's a long way down. And if you get your way, you better know what your way leads to. Well, and so
it's, you know, it reminds me of, you know, how did we ever get out of the whole witch trials kind of thing? Like how did society grow past like, you know, let's just let go of this whole witch thing, you know?
Yeah, stop killing witches.
Right, you know, or that witches are even a thing, you know.
Yeah,
it feels the same. Like that's, you know, the tactics are very similar to witch trials, you know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously in the 50s.
Yeah,
we went after red communists in the same kind of way. So
maybe it's just a human thing. That we go through cycles of this. You know.
Yeah, they'll probably always be, which is why I'm always against grouping people together and defining people, even if you're well intentioned, focusing on tribal aspects that are meant to separate us. And give a quick label to who's good or who's bad based on how they interact with my self-described labels. And trying to use that as a way, to divide. That's a step down that path. That's where, if you're not careful, that's where that can end up.
So what's the solution?
Buy my band's album.
In lots.
If you stand for equality of goodness,
you'll buy my stuff.
You will Google the name of my band and you will purchase everything you can.
Right.
That goes money to me. That's... I've solved it.
Yay!
Should we talk about this song?
Oh, sure.
Now's the time.
Why not? You need a applause button in there somewhere. Where's it? No, that's laughter, man. There you go. There we go. Yay! Oh man! Just when I had it feel like I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
There you go.
To loserhood.
So Liam was in a band.
Yeah, I was.
And then he invited me to join a band.
I did, yeah.
The same band.
The same band. Yeah, I put an ad out for some stuff that I was doing, and some guy replied named Wes, cool guy. And we started jamming, and I said, hey. And he said, hey.
Whoa.
And we're jamming, we're like, cool. And yes, this is a story. It's a good story. And he said, "Hey, I got a friend who plays guitar." I'm like, "Cool, let's jam." And then we decided, okay, well, this is starting to get somewhere. And I said, "Well, I know a drummer. He's got some peculiarities."
Some peccadillos?
But he's a goddamn good drummer, so let's check it out. And then you came in, and all of a sudden it felt like you feel like, when everything just aligns correctly and the world is in its right place. And that's what happened that night. And we wrote, what, 1 or 2 songs?
At least 2 songs.
Yeah. And
Not this song, though.
not this song.
Not that night.
This came after about a year, a year and a half
at
of
least,
work.
At least 3 years later.
Yeah.
Two singers later.
Yeah. Well, maybe 3. I guess technically I was trying to be the singer at first, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm like, if I can't be the singer, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, no, that song got finished by the third.
The third singer, right?
Yeah, not counting you.
So there was
the
me.
third singer.
There was Andy.
Yes.
There was Davey.
Davey.
And then there was.
Oh boy.
And then there
was.
was.
The pressure's on.
The pressure's on.
You don't remember Caesar's name?
Of course I know
he's
Caesar's
gonna
name.
Be
I
sad.
just, but that was the
one
last,
in the middle.
Yeah. But the one that did, I think actually Caesar was the one that kind of gelled us all together.
Yeah. And to make a long, boring story short.
What? This is not boring.
And no one cares about.
Yes, they do.
The band that was and isn't anymore.
I know, but it's a good song.
Yeah. So we wrote some songs, and then we thought, well, what's some good royalty-free music that we can put on?
We at least know the guys that are in charge of the royalties, right?
I can sign off on this one.
Right.
So that's it. That's the story.
Are we gonna say the name of the band?
I think we should, so people know when they want to go.
Curious.
When they go help the world, they know where to go.
You say the first name, we'll say the second name.
Okay. Arson.
Academy.
Arson.
Academy.
Oh boy, say it with pleasure. Say it with me.
It's got a.
Thank you, Ozzy.
There you go. I think he hit the nail on the head right there. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get a crowd applause? There you go. There you go. And there you go.
All right. I'll play some transition music.
There you go. All right. On to the next.
I'm going to take a sip and try to think of something new to talk about.
All right. Let's take a sip.
Okay. A slow sip. What are we drinking?
This, I think, a bottle you bought, which was Patty's Old Irish Whiskey.
1779. Oh, that's good.
It's really old, yeah.
That's good. That's several hundred years old.
I think that's a picture of Ireland, right? Ireland and wheat, is that what that is?
Ireland?
Maybe it's barley, since it's usually what whiskey's made out of. Right?
Oh, sure.
Sure. There you go.
Potatoes?
Potatoes. That's usually vodka, though, right?
Sure. And Guinness, right?
I like Guinness.
Okay. I didn't get it. It'd start the song up, the transition song, and take another
Where
sip.
are we going?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like we should have like this graphic that has like us driving in the car somewhere.
Ooh. Swinging slowly in a swing, kicking our feet out. We need streamers.
I was thinking more of like a Doctor Who kind of like, the TARDIS, and then, or we're going somewhere else. Are you a Doctor Who fan?
Not really.
No.
The critical drinker has talked to me. He's a YouTube movie and TV show reviewer.
Okay.
I actually interviewed him on the Patreon account. I asked him some questions. I said, I'd like to interview you on my podcast.
Oh, what did I do?
You blew it.
Sorry, man.
Said, I'd like to interview you on my podcast. Here's some of the questions I'd like to ask you. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then he responded with answers to those. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like these answers.
Responded, okay.
But yeah.
What did he say?
He, hold on.
That's not what he said.
I'm not sure how he got here or where he gets there.
I led
usually,
you here, Spartacus.
Some of his most entertaining things, and they dance on the subject of modern politics as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't the first to do this, but was talking about like Rey in the new Star Wars trilogy.
Yes.
And how she's a Mary Sue. You familiar with the Mary Sue?
No, tell me more.
Mary Sue in Storyland is a character that everyone likes.
Yes.
That always makes the right decisions. The world always comes easy to them, like the antithesis of good storytelling.
Right. The Dorothy kind of thing.
Yeah, they're perfect. They have nothing really to learn other than they may have some questions like, where did I come from?
Right.
But in terms of being a flawed character who has to overcome their personal weaknesses, instead you get Rey in the Star Wars thing, who at the end of the first movie has never touched a lightsaber until the end, picks it up and then fights someone who's been training his whole life to be the Darth Vader incarnate, and she beats him.
Right.
And she's always perfect, always
just that cool, man.
Yeah, she's always right, she's always good. Everyone loves her. And the idea that is this what modern feminism has gotten us? The idea that if you have a flawed female character, that you are like saying like, oh, well, women are flawed or something. Like, why can't we've had flawed male characters for forever? Why can't we? Why can't you tell a good goddamn story now? Why?
No, women are like secretly a superhero, and they just haven't discovered their superhero-ness.
Yeah, like did you see the middle one where they're on the slow, the 3 mile an hour chase for the whole movie? All the rebel forces.
Well, I've seen them all, so I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was is that the Last Jedi?
What is it? It must have been like what?
It's the one with that was 8.
Then.
It was the one with Luke Skywalker as an old dick. What a cock.
What a cock. What a cock.
And the idea that this is the woman with the purple hair who was in charge of Laura Dern.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She was in charge of the rebel 5 mile an hour because they couldn't go very fast. They couldn't jump to light speed.
Right.
They just stayed right out of reach of the blasters of the 15 Star Destroyers behind them for the whole length of the movie.
Of course, right? Yeah.
And you've got the Poe guy. Why am I remembering these guys? It must be just from the movie reviews because they're not memorable in the movie. He's basically like, well, we need to be doing stuff. We got to get out of here. We can't just keep doing this chase and hope that they give up and let us get away.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's okay. Goodness will find a way. And so he's off sneaking around trying to solve the problem.
He's like, horse shit.
And then at the very end, you find out that the lady with purple hair had a plan all along. And that this guy was kind of a dick for assuming she didn't have a plan.
Right.
When all she had to do was say, I have a plan, and not go, I don't know, whatever. And so it's just like the idea that shame on you, audience member, for thinking that a woman can't come up with a plan. It's like, that's not why I didn't think she had a plan. I thought she didn't have a plan because she didn't have a plan. And hiding the fact that she had a plan until the last 3 minutes...
to make a woman's way, okay?
To make me feel bad for thinking she didn't have a plan. When you set that up.
It's just how they roll, man. This is how they roll.
So that's, that's basically the kind of stuff he points out. There's rules, there's patterns to storytelling. Right. And if you throw all the patterns out and just have a strong, perfect woman who's the hero from the beginning, and she's...
Then you have a good story.
Yeah. She's like, well, I wonder who my parents are. Yeah. Okay, is there anything else going on in your life? Like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm fine.
I like chocolate.
Hey, look, the Millennium Falcon. I like that.
I like chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. So that's kind of the critical drinkers. The
perspective on it.
Yeah, what I like about him is how he looks at the undertones of the political landscape and how they affect the art of today.
Interesting.
And that's what I asked him questions like, where do you draw the line? between, is there, how do you decide what question or what point you're making is too far?
What were the responses to these questions?
His response, and I've got him in my Patreon account, so I'll actually do it upright. We'll get a few more of them. He may be my second celebrity.
All right.
If I can get him, because
get him to talk. Sure.
These are the questions I'm dealing with now. With the how do you learn? And I learn a lot by him, but he's definitely attacking. He's got a one-sided attack thing going on.
Okay.
Which, I think the first video I saw of him was he said something like, there's more dumb things said than at a Trump rally. So he's not. He got his political agenda to ground. Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't fit into what we demand, which is you're all. You either love the Raiders or you love the Chargers. And
he's a Niners fan.
You get one sentence about football to let me know which of those two buckets you fit in. And if he says, I don't like the Raiders, bam, exactly. You're my guy.
Yeah.
You like the Chargers. And then when he says, I don't like the Chargers, like, no, then you really do like the Raiders. No, I don't. I already said I don't.
Damn it.
No, you have to be in one or the other. My brain cannot handle diversity.
A Niners fan that just, maybe
nope. I mean, sure, you can be a Niners fan, but
then
that's just something else. That's like saying you have like brown hair. You're either a Raiders fan and a Niners fan, or you're a Chargers fan.
Well, there's the
and a Niners
there
fan.
you go. There you go. Okay.
So you can like other stuff that's not related to the conversation that matters most. But you fall into, you absolutely love the Niners, absolutely love the Raiders, or the Chargers. Okay. Period.
All right. There are no other options.
Well, yeah, you got to be all in one or all in the other.
All right.
So that's the way we like to view the world and quickly figure out if we can just stop paying attention to people.
All the world's problems just like that.
Well, here's the problem: is just telling people to stop being a cock.
No.
Is not enough. So that's your homework out there, audience. You hear me?
Stop being a cock.
Stop being a cock.
There you go.
When someone says something you agree with or disagree with, don't put them in the bucket saying everything else to come. I can either listen to it or throw it all away.
Exactly.
Perfect.
All right. That was easy.
Yeah. I know we got here somehow.
How did we get here?
This is the fun time when we actually try to have a conversation and then we end up... I don't have any notes for this conversation.
God damn it. That's half the fun.
Hit the phone?
Let's go to the phones.
Yeah. First time caller.
Long time listener, first time caller. Yes?
Podcast number 2. We've got 4 followers by now.
Mr. Smith.
Yes?
Tell us more about what you got to say.
No.
That's it.
All right, transition music. How much time have we spent? Is this long enough to be a podcast? It's almost an hour.
Wow. I'm sure that's enough.
I did explain to everyone why Trump won the election, right?
Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't.
Well, definitely why he came to the top on the Republican ticket.
Tell us more.
Well, that was the point I made before, where he said something that was sure to be political suicide, and then got rewarded for mentioning it. And he misinterpreted that as being rewarded for his point of view, instead of just being the person willing to have a conversation that we're quote-unquote not allowed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so if someone wants to beat Trump...
All right, I didn't do it this time.
Yes. Must not be looping anymore.
That's all right.
If someone wants to beat Trump, they have to say, hey, the people want us to have conversations. Maybe I shouldn't tell the people what to care about. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should listen to what the people care about. And then have an opinion on that. And share my opinion on that. And see if the people are smart enough to allow me to have an opinion on that.
You know what this is?
Is that the world's smallest violin?
No, that's me opening a can of worms.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, obviously with study groups and stuff, and they
Yeah.
figure out, well, if I say this, then if I have this point of view, then 40% will like it, 40% won't like it, 20% won't like it. And then if I have this opinion on this thing, it's a different 40-40-20. And then you eventually end up with 4% of the people who like what you have to say on everything.
Okay.
And then you end up with 96% of the people who have at least one reason to go, you're not completely perfect.
Yes.
You believe something that I don't think is right or is the right approach. But you have to trust that the people can handle that.
You can't handle the truth.
And that, people aren't going to go, well, you know what? Because that's the other story that Trump teaches everyone, is that you can win without all your voters going, yes, he's 100% perfectly exactly what I want him to be.
Right.
Because I don't want to say, it's right to vote for the lesser of two evils, but you have to vote for someone that you are not completely 100% in line with.
Well, I think it goes along with maybe like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like if you hit on the things that are most important to human beings, being their financial stability and, kind of the first top three, needs that people have, then...
I think get closer to the microphone. I hear you cutting out a bunch.
Yeah. I think that you've got to be able to address the majority of what the kind of the top needs of what people want. In that will that people are going to respond to that need, and I think that if you're in a financial situation where you feel like you need to improve on, it's going to be something that people are going to grab onto. But that doesn't necessarily answer all of the questions. But.
Well, and even then, you've got to have something to say about it other than I care. It's very easy to keep it at the bumper sticker level. Mm-hmm. Like I think there's a Dave Grohl sat down with Jack Black to talk about how to write a hit song. Mm-hmm. He's like, those deep cuts don't keep the lights on in the mansion. I got to write hit songs.
Right.
And he just I just have bumper stickers. Everything, taking it easy, make the grade. And you just, you string along some very nebulous ideas. And then that song means whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah, there's that too.
And then you have politicians who are well practiced, and that's the point of all the political leaders testing ideas out. And this is someone playing pinball out there. Apparently, the point of all these experts is to. I'll go ahead and keep talking while you go investigate that sound. Okay. The point of all these experts is to figure out how do you say something to maximize people who agree with it and minimize people who don't like the specifics. And the more you can be generic, and obviously you can't go completely generic because then there's nothing to differentiate you and the other side. So you have to make up your own generic. But then you're like, I think children should have a meal every day.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm not against that, so...
Yeah, I mean, I guess that, that essentially defines your platform. What's your platform? What's going to be your talking points on...
Yeah.
And that can change from year to year because of, what people are struggling with. So,
Yeah.
I think he's really good. I think Trump is really good at finding out what what the majority of people are concerned about, and then really just kind of riding that ticket, so to speak.
Yeah, and I'd have to think it'd be really easy to figure that out.
You would think.
You wanted to figure it out. Oh, and that's the thing is I think it's the the cleverness, the numbers game, the statistics game, we find a 40% jump if you talk about this topic in this way. And then, telling a political candidate what to say, what stance to take, what to keep hidden, what to share based on maximizing statistically generated results, we end up with candidates that we know aren't really telling us what they're going to do when they're, I'm against terrorism. So once I'm in office, anti-terrorism stuff. I'm going to the first bill, no terrorism, sign my name. There's obviously the rubber's got to hit the road. And if we just say, racism's bad. Cool. What are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, how? All my advisors say that if I talk about that too much, that I'm going to worry some people, and you can't handle that. So let's just say I'm on your side, and we're done talking.
Right. Yeah.
Like, damn it. And then Trump's the first guy who's like, no, I'm actually going to talk about it. And it turns out the wrong answer might be better than nope, not going to talk about it at all. At least in the minds of people who are like, well, are you going to deal with this at all? Because the flip side to that is everyone knows Trump's this a windbag who can't do 80% of what he's talking about anyway. So
I think he just was able to capitalize on the situation at the time where, he really identified with a silent majority that had certain feelings about the way the government is being run. And through, maybe luck or just he identifies with that group, that he was just able to say the right things that kind of sparked a lot of passion in that group and got them to vote for him. And that's, again, I think I mentioned before, was that, I think that a lot of our elections are based off of what can I say or do to get you to vote for me, but not necessarily care about making change that are better for a government.
Yeah.
So I think he was able to capitalize on that situation at that time, but I think now things have changed, and I guess we'll see whether or not he's still got a finger on the pulse of what's happening. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, he's not lost his base. He's definitely the world's
but I think
still sliced down.
Yeah, but I think the problem was last time was that his base was more I guess reserved in their commentary, and was like, okay, I'm not gonna participate in any rallies or anything like that, but I'm definitely gonna vote for this. But I think now there are a lot more people fired up that are like, I didn't vote last time, but this time I'm gonna vote, and it's probably gonna be different. But I don't know. We'll see.
Oh yeah, no, I still think the main deciding factor in the election has not happened yet, or not been publicized yet. Next month's going to be, next month, and we're recording this in August 2020. September and October is going to be, what do they call them? The November surprises, all the salacious, secretive stuff that they've got under wraps for the news to, because if they...
It's already started. You see that thing that came out today about his sister and his niece, having these recorded conversations about how bad he is and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, it comes down to what's going to make a Trump voter not vote for Trump.
Yeah.
And hearing from a billion people who don't like Trump is not going to change Trump supporters' mind. Like,
No.
I get it. In fact, half of what I get off on supporting Trump is who he pisses off. So, so that's not going to change anything.
No, I think the only way that anyone else wins is that somehow they inspire more people to vote than the people that support
That's
Trump.
it.
Yeah.
Is the people who, because everyone already knows how they're going to vote.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. There's no one out there who's like, it'll come to me. I need a couple debates to really see the difference between the two.
Right. Yeah.
There's no one out there is thinking it. The difference is what's it take to get them to do whatever it takes to vote.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing to rile up your base to make sure they follow through and vote.
Yeah. I think, last election people were just like, oh yeah, Hillary's got this in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to worry about it. And
Yeah.
they're like, wait.
Oh yeah, everyone was saying he has a 96% chance she was going to win.
Yeah.
So
I think
even the exit polling for half the day was that.
So I think it's just going to be different this time because I think people are like, hey, I'm not going to take it. They're not going to chance it this time. But we'll see. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, no, people definitely know what they're going to get. And Joe's not a surprise.
No.
He's not a mystery candidate.
No.
Trump's definitely not a mystery candidate, so it's a question of do you like what you want?
Yeah.
Or do you like what you got?
Yeah.
Absent this year, I know people are going to try to act like this was Trump's year, but Trump's not, I'd say 80% of the response to COVID's been at the state and local level, so.
Yeah. Technically, it had to be, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think, I guess there's a lot of people, we can debate all day long about the purpose of federal government. I happen to like the idea more of state and local deciding more of what's going on than 300 people in a room on the other side of the country deciding what's best for where I live in San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there's also something to be said for numbers, so I can see anyone saying, okay, well, the CDC could have done X, Y, Z differently, and that could have been better, and I can certainly entertain any argument like that. I don't want to say the feds had no part to play in this.
I just think that their responses were not well organized. I think they tried their best to say something meaningful or that they feel like they were on top of it, but just didn't have good information, and then kind of made the bed that they kind of screwed up, and now we got to lie in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the part that's killing me is that for some massive percentage of people talking about this on the media, it's all about Trump. If Trump gives a speech about the COVID response, he's going to be sucking his own dick about how great of a response he had.
Right.
And if Gavin Newsom, our governor, is giving a speech, it's going to be about how he's got shit to deal with from incompetent leadership above, and he's trying to do the best he can. And so everyone's politicizing this,
right?
Which just immediately makes me go, okay, I'm not going to put, this isn't a check in anyone's checkbox for politics.
I agree. Yeah.
I can't, people have been running around going, the sky's falling for years now.
Yeah.
Oh, for years now.
Well, yeah.
Definitely in the age of COVID. And I just, it's just unfortunate that we, as a species, need to make sure that this whole COVID thing comes out good for my beloved Chargers football team. And it really shows how dastardly the Raiders are.
That's exactly right.
Yes. So did we solve? I think we solved the world's problems today.
It only took like a couple of hours, but
I think if we were to summarize what we came up with, it's that everyone already knows who they're going to vote for, so there's no point in us trying to change the way people are going to vote. I live in California, so I've never really. I'm able to vote my conscience because I know my vote's a throwaway vote.
Right.
For the president.
Right. What are your predictions? Who do you think is going to win?
It's impossible to say. Absent the
Oh, come on. That's a pussy out.
Absent the COVID thing. Well, let me answer.
Okay.
If there's anything the last election told us, it's that we're all, well, obviously you got a 50% chance of being right, but not for the reasons you think. If you'd have asked me in January or February, I'd have said Trump by a landslide.
Yeah.
The question now is going to be, as you know, well, you know, based on, you know, the economy and certainly COVID related things, if you had a close family member die and you believe, you know, you're probably going to believe one party is more responsible or the other. How many people are in that vote? That's a wild card.
Yeah.
I never, you know, once it touches home like that, all bets are, well, I don't even know if all bets are off. I think if Trump walked up to some people's grandmas and shot them in the head, that there'd still be some Trump supporters who like, well, he did what he had to do.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I heard that the stock market came back up to pre-COVID levels this week, so
which is weird though, because we're still like what, at least 10% unemployment in California. You know.
But then we have to look. Yeah, you have to look at the nation, and there's certainly, you know, there's red states who handle it COVID one way. There's blue states that handle it a different way. And obviously the most populous states are probably going to be blue, and the most populous states by definition are going to have the most COVID cases. Yeah. So you can't say that the blue leadership's what causes it, but all of that's a wild card.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone's going to say, well, based on what's happened this year, it would have, you know, Biden would have done things better, or thank God we have Trump to ride us out the rest of this one. And on into COVID-20 next year.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, I've been basically Democrat for most of my life. But when I heard Joe Biden said that, they asked him, hey, if there's a second wave and all that stuff, would you shut the country down? And he said, yeah, absolutely, I would shut the country down. I was like, oh, man. I get that we need to kind of control this thing, but shutting the country down, unless we're willing to go full, China mode where we're completely locked down and no one leaves our house for 2 weeks, which, to me seems like if we did that, if we were willing to go through that pain, we can get it over with and, quarantine for 2 weeks and then, okay, cool, we're good to go from here. But we're not really willing to make that sacrifice. But that was his idea, was okay, I would shut it down and listen to the scientists. And I'm like, man, it's I think that's the really wrong approach, but
Well, that goes to the other thing. It's obviously I can see the short-term goals to shutting everything down.
Yeah.
But if you're in it for
he's still getting paid. That's the problem.
Oh, and that's it. Yeah.
He's not feeling the pain
I
that
saw
we are.
someone who said it's we're all in this together. It's Gavin Newsom, you are not in this with us.
Right.
You are not in this with us.
Yeah.
Donald Trump
did you lose your
is
paycheck?
not
No, I don't think you
in
did.
this with us. I heard that some of his wineries got closed the second time.
Oh, wow.
No, just closed.
Oh, okay.
That was the people were speculating because there was a wave of, wineries have to shut down and restaurants have to shut down. But his winery restaurant was still open. No, winery restaurants is fine. Now I see why the law was written that way. But then in the second wave, they were all shut down. And then people are why are you asking about his thing? I'm well, we're just looking for people to, it makes me feel better if I can call someone a cock.
What a cock.
I can't get mad at the corona, but I can get mad at a politician who closes his competition's business.
Right.
And stays open.
He's
That's what I saw. I was reading something. The MTV Video Music Awards. This is a show I used to watch 20 years ago when they had music on.
How can you even have it? music awards when you don't play music anymore.
Well, they're having it this year, and the governor of New York waived the mandatory 2 weeks of
really?
isolation for the musicians coming in town to perform at that.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
It's
And
so
then-
arbitrary how we do this.
And then people are like, "Oh, wait, we can't have the September 11th memorial. You can't light
Yeah.
the lights,
Right?
but you can let Ariana Grande fly in." And
Yeah. Jesus.
well, it's fine if Ariana Grande is here.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's turning on those lights that are really gonna, and it just it just opens it up. And then there's shitty people on both sides who are gonna make whatever point they make. And there's something bigger to be talked about. Is
How do we fix it all, Nick? Come on.
okay. Hold
tell
on.
us
Hold on.
what to do.
I'm seriously gonna figure out how to fix this.
All right. He's going to solve the world's problems right here, folks.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
I got it.
All
I
right.
got it. Oh my God, this is easy. Buy my album CD.
Woohoo! It fixes all your problems.
Arson Academy.
There it is. Arson Academy.
Arson Academy. No, but seriously, buy my book on social media.
Oh, and what's the title of that book?
That is Finding Yourself in the Age of Social Media. The Missing Instruction Manual for the Internet.
By the Nick Carter.
By the Nicholas W. Carter.
Oh, sorry.
There's too many Nick Carters out there
Right?
cocking it up for me.
Nicholas
yes.
William Carter.
The way to solve this is to turn off cable news.
Yes.
Just period. Just Fox, CNN, MSNBC. If there's a company and it has to fill 24 hours a day with news, turn that.
If it has an acronym, turn it off.
Turn it off.
Yes.
Block people who talk about politics on social media.
Okay. So down to like 5 friends. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's I guess that's the thing. And I shouldn't say block people who talk about it. There's high quality conversations and then there's no quality conversations. And if someone wants to engage in an exchange of ideas, which is not what social media is for, but let's pretend that it could happen.
Yeah.
So you're back to your 5 friends because people don't go to social media going, "Hey, I've got a question. I know that masks are supposed to help, but I wonder what are the whatever XYZ side effects?" No. It's self-evident. You wear a mask or you want people to die.
You got to do that with a German accent. Do that.
Nein!
That's not how you say mask in German.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who this was, but someone's like, "Oh, well, yeah, people going back to school. It's so obvious. Don't risk it." The only reason why people are talking about going back to school is because Trump's losing money if people aren't going to school. And he's like, "We can lose a few percentage of kids. It's fine, as long as I make my money." I'm like, that's fucking what
Crazy
you
time.
really think the other side of the conversation is. I don't care if people die because it makes me money.
Wow.
Because, obviously, I'm like, okay, long-term fix. Short-term fix, everyone stay at home. Will drastically reduce the amount of transmissions due to face-to-face contact.
You said
Doo-doo.
doo-doo.
But 2 months later, 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, are we just prolonging? If the intention is to everyone stay at home for a year until we have a vaccine.
Well, think about it. If we, how hard would it be, like legitimately, if we just closed everything down, absolutely shut it down for 2 weeks? Because we got a 2-week incubation period, right?
Yeah.
So either you're sick or you're not. After 2 weeks, if you aren't dead or don't have symptoms anymore, we're good to go.
So
right?
I guess the problem is what percentage can't be shut down?
Like what? Like what could
Hospitals.
be shut down?
Food. I guess you can give everyone 2 weeks worth of ramen and
if we said, okay,
enough
look,
water.
hey, in 10 days time, 2 weeks time, everything is going to get shut down. Of course, people are going to go crazy and they're going to like, oh, how am I going to live for 2 weeks? But, you probably can live just fine with what you got in the cupboard for 2 weeks.
Well, you and I could. There's definitely families out there that can't. That are
okay. I'd be willing. I'd be willing to say that. Okay, so let's say we give everyone a kind of like a 10-day heads up.
But it's an interesting because it can be done. If this was a species-ending virus,
right?
We absolutely could rally,
right? That's
and
my point.
Make that. We absolutely could make it. Everyone stays at home. We're going to lose 200,000 people who are currently in a hospital.
Right.
We're going to, and obviously those decisions become easier when you're going, okay, well, this is a global killer. Right. We're going to stop the global killer. Right. So it's easy to say, okay, well, we're going to sacrifice 200,000 people to save everyone else.
Right.
Yeah. These are the kinds of thought exercises I love. How close to dire are we? Because that would be dire, forcing everyone to stay home. And if 10% of the people still have to go out, then all you've done is delayed.
So maybe I'm speaking from my perspective because, I'm unemployed currently. So I'm like, waiting for something to happen in that regard. But if it's only 10% unemployment, that means 90% of the United States is working.
90% of age, age.
The workforce is working.
Yeah.
So, okay, that makes sense. Everyone, for the majority, the vast majority of people are okay and everything's cool. It only sucks for the 10%, and it sucks for the for people that can't leave their house, or they feel like they're being restricted with the things that they want to do because they can't go out and do what they want without masks on, or businesses are going to fail because they can't have restaurants open and things like that. So that maybe these things, maybe this 10% is maybe not necessarily accurate, but given what it is this very second, okay, it makes sense. Yeah, it's only 10% of the population is having an issue. Does that justify doing a hardcore 2-week shutdown to clear it up? And I think that's where we're at right now. Is like we can't justify.
Someone would have to explain to most of the population in a way that would have it make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, because anyone, you can do anything for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As long as your necessities are met.
Right.
If you've got running water in the house and food to eat, anyone can live for 2 weeks.
Right.
The question is, do I think that would work and that we would come out the other end having met the stated goal?
Yeah.
Or do I think that we just would have wasted 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And then you get to the point. Okay, well, what if 3 people went out and shared it?
Right. And
all you've done is flatten the curve, but the curve's going to come back.
Yeah.
So that would be my thing is, okay, what you're trying to do is impossible.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but then the other side of that is then, well, if we can't do that, if we can't do the hardcore shutdown, then maybe we should figure out another way to live that includes kind of just living with it as part of our normal existence and open everything up, normally, open up restaurants, open up the rest of it, and just kind of be willing to take the repercussions that come with that.
Yeah. And that's what, when we first started to reopen things, which was right at the same time we started to reopen things, and also all of the Black Lives Matter protests everywhere. So there's all these things happening, and everyone on both sides can say, "Look, see,
what a
it's
shitstorm
your
this whole
fault
year's been.
that this thing came back.
Yeah,
because you're the assholes that all got together in a group,
right?
And then." I know when we shut down the second time, everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's coming back. We have to shut down." And we're like, "Well, that was the deal,
right?
We knew that was the deal.
Yeah.
We didn't think, okay, we're we're magically better now.
And now I'm hearing more people like, oh, what happens if there's a second wave? I'm like, we already had a second wave.
Yeah.
Like, where are you?
Yeah, that's the decision. And to me, the decision is it better to keep it shut down and push off that wave? Is it better to let that wave run its course? I don't know if people are having that conversation. I would be interested to figure out, like, I know they said, okay, all these numbers went way up on the which prompted the second shutdown. It was too early to tell if the death rate went up.
Yeah.
Because I'd be interested to say if now with the second wave, if we know more and that just having it, because obviously, well, there's a huge number of people who have it and don't know they have it. Then there's a number of people who have it, know they have it, it sucks, but then they leave the hospital, and then there's small percentage of people who die with it without existing conditions, and then the idea, okay, have we learned enough to really change those numbers around, make it less likely you're going to die with it?
See, here's my problem, though. We have, coronavirus is not the leading cause of death in the United States.
Oh, by a long shot.
So we've got all these other things like heart disease, cancer, and what have you.
If only there was a way to prevent those.
Right?
But there's not, so...
Sorry, can't help you. But, we're not shutting down the country to make those things, to fix those things. But yet, when it comes to this coronavirus, I understand that hospitals are overrun and all that stuff. I get that. But, I don't see how it's any different than any other, disease that we're trying to fight. There are, multiples of people suffering from other things that kill them that we're not shutting the country down for.
Yeah.
So, maybe,
and even,
do I sound callous? I don't know.
And that's, so there's the numbers game, which is callous or not callous. Then the thing I'm asking, well, in terms of the long-term outcomes, is focusing only on these numbers the right perspective?
Right.
So I don't even accept the attitude that you're either all for shutting it down or you don't care if people die.
Right.
I want to have that conversation. Maybe, people are going to die no matter what. Are less people going to die in the long run if we let it go through? And, I don't know enough about herd immunity to, roll the dice on my own particular life. But these are the conversations I have, and why I completely reject people who act like it's clear cut.
Right.
You either want to save lives or you want to make money and you're an asshole.
Right.
It's like long term, unless we all agree we're all going to live at home until they find a cure next year.
Right.
We have to go, okay, what's the right way for the numbers, looking at all the numbers.
Yeah.
And anyone can make statistics say whatever they want. So it's got to be like, look, if we open this up, the death rate's going to quadruple.
Do you want some more?
Yeah, I probably better have some more. If we open up the economy, by the economy I mean all the businesses, then the death rate's going to quadruple over the next 2 months. And then it's going to plateau, and then it's going to come way down. And if we bring it down, then the death rate will stay lower, but it will death by 1,000 cuts, and it'll still we'll hit a higher number long run.
Yeah.
So these are the conversations you have where you got to get politics out of it, and is this a win for Trump or is this a win for Biden? Because I don't give a fuck. I'm the only American who wants to do the right thing and not define that by
party
voter
measure.
turnout this November.
God.
Everyone else is what a cock.
What a cock.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, all right.
All right.
Did we solve the problem?
I think we did.
I think
we all decided that we're going to go out and have big coronavirus parties, and it's not real.
Have you played Oogie Mouth?
No.
Oogie Mouth's where you spit in your friend's mouth.
Oh. Who came up with that?
That was from South Park. They made the reference to one of the kids caught chicken pox, and so they had a chicken pox party.
Oh, that's terrible.
That was back when that was popular 10 years ago.
I remember that. Yeah.
Which was funny because the kids got even with their parents because they had to go play Oogie Mouth with your friends.
Right.
And then they got revenge by there was a prostitute who had cold sores. And so they got all their mom's toothbrushes and stuff, and they gave their moms cold sores.
Man.
And they're like, well, look, you learned your lesson. I thought we're just trading viruses.
I picked up what you're putting down, and now here you go.
Because chicken pox is...
Totally the same.
It's not totally the same, but it's the same kind of family. It's kind of related. And obviously the bigger point. But
Yeah.
But that was the thing. Which was funny because I just remember Mrs. Cartman was the only mom in the room who didn't have a cold sore on her mouth.
Oh, man.
And like, why don't you have a cold sore? And she's like, oh, well, I've got mine in a different place.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah. So, Oogie Mouth. That's what you go play Oogie Mouth with your friends.
No.
Yeah, I've got friends today on social media who are talking about vaccines, and I mean, God bless social media for what it is.
Yeah.
I love seeing posts. Like my cousin was swimming at the lake with her daughter, and my other cousins last week, and I love posts like that.
Well, it is, to play devil's advocate, it is interesting that there seems to be a correlation with the getting these massive vaccinations all at the same time at a certain age seems to correlate with rates of autism and things like that. But I don't think that, like we do with our kids, we just spread out the vaccines so they weren't all at the same time.
That makes sense.
So we're not like, anti-vax, but we're like, maybe, reconsider kind of how you administer them. But,
Well, a doctor is going to tell you the right thing every time.
Totally.
Because
they're totally
perfect infallible. If the government...
And they don't make any money on them the vaccines that they
I probably
administer.
shouldn't say anything about how much I work with the FDA or my opinion on their efficacy.
No, you shouldn't.
I won't.
Good on you.
We move. That's time for
transition quick. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
We've just solved all the world's problems.
I remember if I can invoke Dave Grohl, those are going to be my two go-tos.
Jordan Peterson and Dave Grohl.
Jordan Peterson and Dave Grohl.
That's all you need.
For different reasons.
That's all you need in the world.
Yes. I remember... Oh, this is story time.
Okay.
I remember in the early...
1970...
The early 2000s, there's this band called the Foo Fighters. And they had this political advocacy page on their website.
Did
because all good rock bands have to have...
Of course. Sorry, I should have had the piano on.
That's fine. My second favorite political advocacy site.
Second favorite?
Second favorite.
Okay.
Not my first favorite. The close...
Not your first favorite?
Yes. Liam's flipping me off for those of you listening at home. The second favorite was a organization, I forget the name, but they're dedicated to
That's some loud fire. Let's turn it down, far down a little bit. Okay. There you go.
The organization dedicated to the rampant conservatism that rules over all college campuses, and how poor liberals can't get a word in edgewise because conservatives run the place and scare all the liberals into silence. So that I forget the name of that organization, but the Foo Fighters wanted you to be aware of them and to contribute to their good works.
Yeah.
And my first favorite, if I can flip you off, was I forget her name. She's a real
Tipper Gore?
A real treat. No, not Tipper Gore.
Oh, okay.
there was this lady who campaigned really hard. Campaign's the wrong word. She just worked really hard to break the stigma that HIV was in any way related to AIDS.
Huh?
And that if you had HIV, that meant you were somehow more likely to get AIDS, was ignorant to its core, and that you were... It was bad. She, not coincidentally, had HIV. Her newborn kid had HIV. All these, I don't know. She
But
just
somehow that was not related to AIDS.
completely. HIV and AIDS were two unrelated things. And like the bass player for the Foo Fighters did like tribute fundraiser concerts to help this organization.
How unfortunate.
Make more money. And then the lady with HIV who ran this organization died of AIDS.
Right? Yeah.
Because turns out no matter what rock stars say, sometimes science wins.
Sometimes the truth is the truth.
Yeah. So at that point, the Foo Fighters are like, why don't we pull down that link off our political advocacy one? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay,
Sorry.
cool. But let's leave the rest up because those are probably right.
Right, totally.
So that's when I officially became disillusioned to the idea that maybe high school dropouts who can write catchy bumper sticker songs, maybe they don't have a perfect worldview.
Yeah. Even though we love the Foo Fighters. But,
Oh, I do quite love their songs.
but their political views we don't necessarily subscribe to.
Well, there's, or worldview, whatever. Would you call that political? I don't know. There's definitely not a whole lot of
Everything's
people.
political, man. Everything's political.
Except for the HIV doesn't lead to AIDS. I think that's outside.
It's political to somebody.
To somebody, yeah, maybe, but I think the left and the right can all
That
see
means you
eye
hate
to
gays.
eye
That's
on that.
that's all that.
Yeah, yeah. How dare you? I'm
How
like,
dare you?
No. I'm not sure what you're trying to get me to do, but I'm not going to do it.
All right.
Yeah, I guess that's one way you can bring both sides together is by going so crazy that everyone agrees that you're a shitball. It's official. Dave Grohl united everyone. Not
Right?
Dave Grohl, because it was the Mendel bass player guy.
What's his name? He was from. I forget what he's from.
Wasn't he? Not Death Cab for Cutie.
No.
At the
Don't
disco.
remember.
At the drive-in.
No. You talking about the bass player from Foo Fighters?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
that's
Can't
okay.
remember.
This is even more
killing me.
boring than our conversation about our band.
Right?
Yeah.
He's just probably going, God damn, screw you guys.
People are, I'm gonna go listen to that Jason Bateman podcast. I want to hear Will
Screw
Arnett.
you, pal. You don't know what you're talking about.
My favorite moment from that podcast. I should probably Google who these people are.
Nah.
The
Facts are dumb.
Dax something Shepherd. Dax
Shepherd, yes,
Shepherd. I
yes.
pulled that out of my ass, and
Good
here
job.
it is.
Well done.
And they just joked the whole time that he was Mr. Kristen Stewart, or whoever he's married to.
Because Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sounds right. Kristen Stewart sounded wrong, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, damn, I think I'm 50% there.
Yeah.
And so Dax told a story about how he was hosting some Nickelodeon awards,
Yes.
and he was with Colin Hanks co-hosting,
Okay, yeah.
and they were up
Tom
on
Hanks' son.
yeah.
Yes.
They were on this catwalk scaffolding thing, 50 feet up in the air, rocking back and forth over the stage, giving their commentary up there.
Because
That's just where they put them. I guess they had color commentary all over the place. and-
yeah, as you do.
yeah. And so Dax is up there with Colin, and he just looks to Colin. He says, when this thing falls over and kills us, the headline's going to be Kristen Bell's husband and Tom Hanks' son die in
Right.
an accident.
Totally. Damn it.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
nobody's going to talk to me. Yeah, guy with same name as Backstreet Boy.
Right. And his companion.
I've tried so many ideas where I just said, if I slap my name on it and put it out there, I bet
Yeah.
I'll get at least some residual
Yeah,
attention.
That's because you got a cool name. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a very common, cool name.
Yeah. Mine's like a mouthful of marbles.
Yeah. Unfortunately. But what a Cock.
What a cock. What a fucking cock.
Oh,
What a cock.
we're not going to play this for my kids or share the link with them, are they?
Well, unless
They
you spend the time and going beep.
They still don't think. They still don't think. Oh, hold on. I think I got some beeps.
You should do some beeps if you got beeps.
They still don't think. They think I don't know how to cuss.
Perfect. This is gonna be,
Cock. Could you tell what I said?
No.
Cock sucker motherfucker testicle licking Barbara Streisand. Oh, the beep wasn't long enough.
Oh, that's
People
terrible.
heard the last word.
Barbara Streisand is not a curse. She might be cursed, but she's not a curse.
It depends on who you're.
Depends
the
is
audience
what you
is.
need.
Are you sober now?
Oh man.
All right.
I would love to know what he actually says there.
Oh well, he's answering a question. There, I'm glad we had this talk.
Where's the subtitles? I'm looking for the subtitles. Thank you. I know. I'm hilarious.
So I think we're done.
I think so. I think you're right.
I've got another conversation I'd like to have, but I don't have my celebrity with me.
Damn it.
I'm gonna go reach out to the.
Don't you have your personal celebrity with you all the time?
Well, I got my my Willie.
You got to keep your personal celebrity in your fanny pack at all times.
Oh man, my wife gave my fanny pack to my mother-in-law.
Ah.
I had a fanny pack all ready to go, so like when I go for a bike ride, I can put my shit in my fanny pack.
That's what you need it for.
And it sat up on the shelf for a couple months, and then.
It's like you were possessed by the whiskey monster for a
Oh,
second.
it's good. And then the fanny pack fell on the ground.
Oh.
And it sat on the ground for 3 months.
Is that like an elf on a shelf kind of thing?
Yeah. But the fanny pack was covered in dirt and dust, and I was waiting because I don't actually need a fanny pack for most of my life.
Well, unless you have a mullet, then you need one.
Yes, well, I currently don't have a mullet, but I got my bike ready to go,
Yes.
and so then I was ready to
Fanny pack.
bring a fanny pack because I don't know if you've ever had a phone fall out of your pocket while you're riding a bike. It's not.
Well, I usually have mine attached to like my.
Oh, you're motorcycling.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I'm bicycling, which
Okay.
means I'm not going to put on my heavy leathers for a bicycle ride.
All right, bragger.
Yes, bragger. So I went around, look. Hey, has anyone seen my fanny pack? Anyone seen my fanny pack? My wife's like,
yeah.
My mom came over a few weeks ago looking for a fanny pack, and that was just sitting down in the ground on the cat hair. So I gave it to her. So I did find
Hey, my wallet was in there.
Yeah. Oh no, it was empty.
Okay.
Now every time she comes over, she's wearing it, and I'm like, "Hey, that's a nice fanny pack, tramp."
Well, now that you make things out of leather, you can make
Yeah,
yourself a new
I
one.
just saw a pattern online. I have to decide between the
Nice.
laptop briefcase and
Saddlebags.
saddlebags. Yes, saddlebags
just
for
putting
your hog.
That's right. Just putting it out there, man.
We should have an online contest where
Yes.
our listeners do something that gives me money, and then I pick one of them, and then I something.
Yeah.
This is great.
And then I something.
And then I something.
And then I something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great idea.
I can take
Anytime
a picture
you can
of
do
something,
I something, yes.
and then I can tell people that someone
I'm a
won.
me.
Hey, look, Benny Hill won. Benny Hill won this. Thanks everyone for. I'm glad we were able to wrap this up on a high note.
Yes.
Good. We need the Benny Hill music.
Totally, Benny. You need to put that as like a trigger. That you
I
got
bet
right
that's not copyright protected or
sure it's
anything
not.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we are
There we go. We own this one, damn
at
it.
the end. This podcast, I mean, seriously, we
Right.
explain Trump.
We discovered all we need to do to solve Corona.
Yes, there's so many people out there who don't understand either of those.
No.
And for fucking free, we didn't even have a
Right? We didn't even get paid.
Uncle Pappy's knuckle
sandwich,
sandwich
right?
ad. This is sponsor free,
Oh man.
and so much
Keep
goodness.
it going, man. There you go.
So that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
You're welcome, world.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well,
We do, we do
Yeah.
this out of the goodness of our heart. It's true. Stop laughing. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Applause all around. Oh man, you just.
all right.
Yay!
It's the time. It's the end of the podcast. I'm not encumbered by language.
Are you ready? In this corner.
Shit and piss. Piss.
Fighting.
All right. Well, that's it. I think we can let people go with this uplifting song.
Yes.
Go out there and stop being a cock. All of you. I'm looking at you.
But what a.
I'm looking at you, Alyssa Milano. I'm
What
looking
a
at
cock.
you.
What a cock.
What a cock. I'm looking at you.
I'm looking at you.
All right.
All right. Next time.
Next time.
That's good.